Me now is Colin Pope, the editor of the Austin Business Journal. Apple, obviously a well-known name here in Central Texas. They've been around since 1992.
That's right.
But this could take things to a whole new level.
Big announcement today. Yeah, $1 billion investment that we will be seeing here. And 133 acres that Apple is going to take on in addition to what they have here in Austin already. And one of the interesting facts is that outside of Cupertino, California, Apple's headquarters, Austin is the second largest employment hub for this tech giant. So 133 acres, $1 billion investment, 5,000 employees to start, and then they think that years down the road, that campus, this new campus, could hold 15,000 employees, and all that's in addition to the 6,000 or 7,000 employees that they've got here already. So big deal indeed.
Obviously, ABJ very focused on the business community. What would be the ripple effects of this announcement today?
Well, you got to look at two things, I would say, and number one, I'd look at the real estate front. So, you know, when you have just a major employment hub plop down like that, immediately it's going to have a ripple effect on real estate in the area. So if you own a home anywhere around the McNeil and Palmer Lane location, which is where Apple intends to build this new campus, you can expect probably your home value is going to go up. So if you're holding on to your home for quite some time, that might be a curse. If you intend to sell in the coming years, it might be a blessing. So that's one interesting thing. And then you've got to realize too, on the real estate front, that Robinson Ranch is the name of the development, or the area where this is going into. They're taking 133 acres. Robinson Ranch is a total of 7,000 acres, and the Robinson family is interested in filling out more with development. So that area, and it's not far from the Domain, which is already being called Austin's second downtown, that area, from a real estate perspective, might end up being indeed the Austin's big second downtown. And we'll see, you know, maybe 50 years from now, that might actually be a bigger downtown than what we've got here in Austin right now. The other thing that I would point out is from a technology perspective now, Apple was already in the neighborhood, but in that neighborhood already is Dell, HP, Samsung, National Instruments, HomeAway, Facebook, Amazon. So we're looking at a major mini Silicon Valley in North Austin. And so from a technology company's perspective, that can be also a blessing and a curse. If you're a recruiter, that might be a little bit of both. I mean, right now they're having tough time getting people into the door, but you can feed off of Dell, you can feed off of HP, you can feed off of Samsung, that might help. At the same time, those recruiters have to worry that Samsung, Dell, HP, and National Instruments, all those companies are going to go after Apple employees once they move here. So a lot of dynamics that are going to play out.
Might we see rising wages for tech workers because of that?
I think that we will, yeah, absolutely. And we've already seen that because the talent crunch is so high right now. We have to pay people more, which is making that gap between the haves and the have-nots here in Austin even bigger.
What about the average person who maybe didn't do so well in math and science? That would be me.
Yeah.
Apple sounds like a fun place to work. They really take care of their employees. How easy would it be to get a job there?
Well, right now they are saying, especially in tech, if you've got the skills, and some of these skills, by the way, can be acquired in 5-6 months at some of these coding schools and other things like that. You don't necessarily have to go and get a 4-year degree to be able to get a job at these places. So from that respect, and because unemployment is at 3%, which is really distressing to companies. It's very, very difficult to get people in the door now. So you got a lot of people moving up. So we've written stories over the Business Journal about bartenders who go into one of these coding schools and 6 months later, they've got a big tech job.
So they really do hire local people, not just folks from California coming out.
They do, they do. Now definitely you can expect that some people are going to transfer from California, but by and large, they're moving here because we have got the workforce or the universities to create a more workforce that Apple needs.
Could Austin become a headquarters to a company like Apple or Dell? Are we going to see more of these companies coming here?
We definitely are, and that's the key, is the headquarters. And that's really what the Austin Chamber and a lot of civic leaders want, is they want headquarters. They don't just want spin-off offices. This is a secondary office for Apple, a big one, and it matters a lot. Nonetheless, it is not the corporate headquarters. So there has always been an emphasis over at the Austin Chamber of Commerce to get more headquarters here. We're seeing some fruits of the labor, actually. Just earlier this week, we reported that a company called Residio, which is a spinoff of Honeywell, massive company, and this is a technology company that makes stuff for our homes. And they have decided to put the headquarters of this new company in East Austin. So we are seeing more and more headquarters, but we are still a secondary market for so many.
Hard to believe that we're
That's
still
right,
secondary.
that's right.
With all the growth we've seen. Well, for years, Dell was the largest private employer in Central Texas for tech companies. They're still the largest right now. Here's a graphic showing that. But Apple said today, effectively, they want to take that mantle over and overcome Dell. Will this cause a reinvestment in local tech companies, do you think?
You know, I think so. And by the way, this is something that has been forecast for about 5 years now. We've been reporting that some economists think that Apple is going to outpace Dell in terms of employment, eventually become the largest tech employer here in Austin. And you know, this is a big step that's probably going to get them there, maybe in the next 10 years.
Are there any downsides to this move we're seeing today?
You're going to get the usual downsides that you get that we're all used to in Austin. I mean, when you talk economics, for every winner there's going to be a loser probably. You know, it's not as cut and dry as that, but certainly. If you're not going to be on this tech bandwagon, you know, you may be left behind a little bit. Now, that's not to say that you know, all the restaurants and all the other companies around there, they're certainly going to benefit and see more business because of Apple. You know, the question is can they keep the wages up to where, you know, right now in Austin, we're dealing with this thing where we can't get the service workers to live close enough to the jobs. Right now in North Austin, Williamson County, that's not a problem. But if this keeps up, we've really got to mind that, because if you look at the statistics of the average household income, it is rising by about 34% up north of Austin, but the cost of housing is rising by about 75%. Yeah. And that's kind of only getting bigger, and that's a troublesome thing.
Yeah. Amazon bypassed Austin, but Apple is coming.
That's right.
And you know, we're a target now for these big companies.
We are. We're on everybody's radar screen. Probably have been so for at least the past 10 years. And it'll probably continue to be that way. It's kind of interesting, this Robinson Ranch site was actually offered up to Amazon for its HQ2. We missed out on that. Our city collectively, you know, for the most part, breathed a sigh of relief. Now we're getting this, smaller than what Amazon was promising. They were promising, you know, 50,000 jobs over 10 years. Apple is maybe more closer to 15,000. So, you know, not on the scale, but still something to talk about and a big deal. And I suspect that you'll see more of these big companies making these big investments in Austin, which begs the question, what will happen during the next recession if in the past we've been really insulated from what happens with Apple or Amazon or anybody else. Now, if Apple or Amazon or anybody else feels something in China, there's a good chance we might ripple down here to Austin.
Exciting times, challenging times.
Indeed.
Colin Pope from the Austin Business Journal, thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks.